Hello, this is Sarah Parrish, and I'll be walking you through Project B, which is, for me, a mobile-friendly version of Project A. As a quick recap for Project A, I did a website for the Cheesecake Lady, a small local business that is run by one woman who makes primarily cheesecakes, and they're sold mostly, almost exclusively at farmers markets and special events. Stylistically, the visual theme is based on the double meaning of the word cheesecake, which means both the dessert and the pinup girl from the 40s and 50s. So that's kind of why I tried to incorporate more retro and vintage colors and elements to kind of replicate that artwork. Um, like for example, this whole web banner or homepage banner, sorry, um, is kind of designed to look a little bit like the pinup girl calendars, only instead of a pinup girl, it's a slice of cheesecake, which would change, ideally monthly. Um, Also, thank you everyone who has provided feedback. It has all been so incredibly helpful. One of the things that came out of the feedback was creating this static navigation bar, which is present on almost every single page, with the exception of some of the sub sub pages. um, I also added these social interaction buttons. One is a direct dial. The other is their Facebook page, and this third, it's temporarily to a non-existent Twitter page. But 3 looked the most balanced, so I kind of use this as a placeholder, and we'll probably actually create an Instagram for this company and replace the Twitter with that down there. Okay, so in the navigation bar, the 4 sections are the same 4 from the desktop version, since they seemed like the most relevant to a user visiting the site. They'd want to know about the company, what the flavors are, uh, where they can purchase it, and ordering, how they can order online. So, clicking about, this takes you to just some kind of basic information. You can learn more. Actually, stylistically, I kind of tried to make the sub. I guess this is a sub page, and then these are sub pages. But getting to the deeper pages all kind of look the same. So there's this button with the kind of little blue arrow. I also tried to make the actual transition reflect the direction of the arrow, so it just kind of was a subtle, hopefully organic way for someone to navigate this site. And the arrow back is a back arrow. Yeah, just a little more information. User can actually click anywhere on this top page to go back, so that they don't have to worry about actually clicking the little arrow. Local ingredients. I kind of got into this with these buttons here, but I wanted to try to practice making consistent stylistic decisions based on user actions, or the results of a user action. So for example, whenever I use this kind of style of, it kind of doesn't look like a button, but it is, with this little gray caret, that kind of links to an external website. I don't know how important that is for such a small site, but I thought it would be a good practice to try to get into. So clicking on any of these will actually take to an external site. That's about. So flavors. Because of the nature of this particular company, which does not really thrive on online ordering, I wanted to make sure that the people who were interested in that knew that it works a little bit differently. Only because the flavors are really very subject to availability. And the way that ordering will work, which I'll show shortly, is it's basically just requesting for a cheesecake to be reserved by a specific date. That way, the owner doesn't end up accidentally, compromising our inventory. Since cheesecakes are subject to spoiling, this was an easy way to make sure that she could still sell them through the avenues that she normally does. An example, farmers markets. So, long story short, I kind of put this information in many different spots throughout the site um, because I think repetition is best in this particular instance. So you can click OK. This is just an image gallery. It's a carousel of images. This is a good example. I know one of the suggestions was commented on how this was got, as you can see here, a little wonky sometimes. I think this is actually just because I'm looking at this on a web browser versus an actual mobile device. So instead of actually using, your finger on a mobile device to go through, the mouse is trying to mimic that, and the mouse wheel. Nope, there you go again. So I'm thinking that may partially be why this is not working perfectly. So go up to where. So where can a user purchase the Cheesecake Lady product? They can go to the storefront, and again, I made the phone number huge because we would prefer people call the company instead of ordering online. And that's really only if someone wants a very specific flavor. This is really just an attempt to try to deter potentially disgruntled customers. However, I realize that it's going to happen probably anyway. um, so again, these types of buttons take someone to like a sub page, and these take someone to an external page. You can go back. Looks the same here. And lastly, the order page. So as I said before, ordering online in this instance is really just requesting that the owner save a particular cheesecake by a certain date that you promised to come pick it up. Because it's just one woman, she really has to make sure that the inventory does not go to waste. So if a customer does not pick up the cheesecake by a certain date, she'll be able to sell it at one of the farmers markets where it will definitely 100% sell. Um, however, if someone does want to go through with placing an order, they can do so. And one of the suggestions was to add a drop-down menu, which I purposely avoided because I don't think that the website would be able, the owner would not be able to constantly maintain the website and make the list accurate of available cheesecakes because she bakes, I'm pretty sure it's on a daily basis. So that just wasn't practical for this particular instance. So someone can go through, place their order, and this reiterates where they'll pick up the order, and that payment transaction will occur at the time of pickup. So no payment is actually made through this form. And instead of the little back button, I did an X because I didn't want someone to click back and then think maybe that their order did not go through. So the same thing works with fundraising. And actually, to kind of backtrack real quick, I consciously did not include an order now button on next to each flavor. I did that on the desktop version, but I didn't do it on the mobile version. And this was kind of along the same lines as the drop-down menu. This could give the false impression that these are a list of available flavors, even though the pop-up menu before indicated that they are not. I wanted to avoid people thinking that clicking purchase now assures and guarantees that that flavor is available. I know that it's a little difficult to comprehend and it's not the most user friendly, but that's just the way that this business happens to work. So I tried to make the website work with that in mind. So yeah, and at any point in time, you can of course click the logo in the center to be taken back to the home page. So that is that. Thank you everyone who provided feedback throughout the quarter. Really, it was incredibly helpful. And I hope everyone has a really great summer. Bye!